everybody, this is Spanos from LOR Hub here. Once again, I've got a deck profile for you guys today. So as of yesterday, as it stands, it's Wednesday, 11:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As of yesterday, the patch dropped. This is patch 0.9.4. We actually posted a preview. If you guys don't know what went on, you can go check that video out. But patch dropped and everything changed. I mean, Yasuo became huge overnight. And in my opinion, this is another deck that became huge overnight. This is a Yeti-oriented mid-range deck with mono Ashe, just 3 copies of Ashe. So I'm going to go through my version. This deck took me from rank 2100 to rank 800. As it stands, I'm like rank 1700 presently in Master because I've been testing a lot of different decks trying to, get the 4-1-1 on what's good. So I'm just going to go through the deck and talk about ratios, talk about, stuff as it pertains to this build and why I included certain cards and at whatever ratios and whatever frequencies they appear in the deck. So without further ado, we're just going to get right into it. We got 3 copies of Brittle Steel. This is pretty much an auto include for any Ashe deck. Contributes to the quest. And it's just a great card. It helps you with those early trades. Helps you get rid of problematic 3 health, 3 or lower health cards. I mean, this is good. You need to auto include this at 3 in any Ashe deck. Same with Omen Hawk here. I'm not really going to talk about that. 3 copies of Omen Hawk. 3 copies of Yeti Yearling. Like I said earlier, this is a Yeti deck, and he needs to be included at 3. Legion Drummer here. We just have a well-statted 2-drop with a great effect. I don't see a reason why you wouldn't run this at, less than 3 copies. Just a really good card from Noxus. Pairs up really well with Rhymefang Wolf as well, and Ashe herself. Just a generic good 2-drop. Play this at 3, guys. Don't mess around with this ratio. Avarosian Trapper. So overnight, this card went from being a 3-drop 2-2 to a 3-drop 3-3, and I believe it is in contention with Frenzy Skitter for one of the best 3-drops in the game. Avarosian Center is pretty much an auto. Avarosian Trapper. I'm sorry. Avarosian Trapper is pretty much an auto 3 of in any Fredjord deck. So for those that don't know what an Enraged Yeti does, I'm going to go over it real quick. So that's an Enraged Yeti. So when I'm summoned, create an Enraged Yeti on the top 3 cards of your deck. Get one of these bad boys, draw it pretty soon. This card, pairs up with the deck, synergizes with the deck in more ways than one. But hey, a 1-drop 5/5 isn't too bad, huh? So yeah, one of the best 3-drops in the game, period, right now. Can't stress enough how good this card is. You must include it at 3 if you're going to play this deck. Next is Flash Freeze at 2. I didn't find 3 Flash Freeze to be a necessary number in the deck. 2 seemed fine given the fact that we're playing 3 Ashe. So, good card, but don't see a need to play it at 3. So next is Rhymefang Wolf. In my mind, this is another auto-include at 3 of. The card's fantastic. It's hard removal against problematic cards. Obviously pairs up with any Frostbite in the game. Great card, one of the good mid-range tools that Fredjord has. You'd be a fool not to use this in this deck. Next, we've got 2 of Tall Tales. Originally, I had 3 copies in the deck, but it was just a little bit too much, a little bit too clunky. So when you have a Yeti on the board, summon an Enraged Yeti. Otherwise, create one on top of your deck. So very rarely you're going to be creating one on top of your deck, but more often than not, unless you're really stressing to draw a playable card, which I've done a time or 2, but most often you're just getting a 5/5 Yeti for 3 mana, which is a pretty good deal. Very solid card, especially when you have cards like Yeti Yearling on the board. Next up, we've got Ashe at 3 of. Not going to talk about this. This is obvious. Include. We've got 2 copies of Babbling Bjerg. Originally we had 3, but cut it down to 2 because post turn 4, Babbling Bjerg is really not so great, and we really don't want to see him after that. This is more an on-curve turn forward play to fetch a Hearthguard. So, not really much to talk about. 3 just felt like a little redundant to me, so we left it at 2. Treferian Assessor. This card is one of the best cards in the deck. There are so many times where you're going to draw 3, 4, 5 cards off of Treferian Assessor. She draws one for herself when she's buffed up, which happens quite a bit with the next card that we're playing, which is 3 Hearthguard. This really, when you get to play this card with decent tempo and you're not like taking on too much offense, this card pretty much seals the deal in you spanking most mid-range decks, and that's what I find is this deck has an amazing matchup against almost any mid-range deck. Control, it plays well because it can spawn a solid amount of 5/5s and just create threat on the board really well. But Hearthguard isn't a must include at 3. I mean, you get this card on the board as soon as possible, almost all the time. You want to just start playing him, and your deck just becomes huge. Your whole deck is just huge. Treferian Assessor has that much higher of an upside, so can't say enough good about Hearthguard. Next, we got 1 copy of Kato. In my mind, this is a flexible spot. I include Kato because I think he's a solid little one of. I don't know about him as a one of. If I'm being completely honest, I feel like he would do better as a 2 of in the deck. One of the main issues with the deck, I feel like, is there isn't enough overwhelm. So I mean, you could turn Kato into a might. You could do whatever with him. This is a only flexible spot in the deck, I would really say, in my opinion. But Kato, I mean, he's still really good. Babbling Bjerg fetches him. Solid support effect, and now with a buff being 4 health, he's still really good and has been really solid for me thus far. So next up, we've got Harsh Winds at 3. This card is debatably the best Fredslord card around right now. One of them, at least. I mean, burst speed, frostbite 2 enemies. This helps you trade adequately. This card saves you so many games. Just can't say enough good about Harsh Winds. Next up, we've got 3 copies of Reckoning. This is perhaps your strongest answer card in the deck to, cards like Brood Awakening, which would otherwise give you an issue. Or just, opponents overextend. It's a good way to punish opponents for overextending. It's a good play post-Bannerman drop. The card is fantastic. The card is your strongest answer card, and this card alone will swing games. This card will swing games and do massive... this is out of all the cards in the deck, the number 1 card, guys, that people concede to is Reckoning. So, in my mind, this is a 3 of. It's a must. The deck needs a form of hard removal, and this is it. So, but yeah, guys, that's the deck. If you're looking to find me on Twitch, my Twitch is twitch.tv/IamSpanos. Also, go give my boy Joey some love. He's part of the LOR Hub family, twitch.tv/JoeyTaff. If you try the deck and like it, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like on the video. I'm going to leave the string for the deck below, so you guys try it yourself. Tell me what you think. Let me know if you changed anything and how it's working for you. And that's going to do it for today, guys. We'll see you next time.